Ryan here, Between the Sharks. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're back on the Model T project. We've got to work on this whole hind end thing. Small problem, hopefully relatively easy fix, but our subrails are way too long and get a tiny bit too wide at the end. That is mostly an artifact because I didn't know how long the body was when I started to lay out our new subrails. So, we had so little when we started this project, we've just been burning the candle at both ends, right? But kind of start with the subframe, kind of stick the body together, see where they don't agree with each other, and then try to make them friends again. So today, well, let's just, dive in and take a look at what we're gonna try to do. So everything is somewhat secured, meaning tack welded or better at this point. So we know the shapes and we know the general locations and we know center and all of that jazz. But out here, oh boy, this is where things get a little squidgy. First of all, clearly, it's a little long there. And I really rough cut the other side over yonder. We need to trim these guys kind of here-ish, because it seems like on the original body, this actually has sort of a break and goes flat against the subrail. It wasn't necessary that I, continue that idea, but I guess we're going to. So I think I'm going to break the subrail right here. We'll build a little angle piece here on both sides, trim off the excess, and Bob's your uncle. So I've painted myself into a corner a little worse than I thought. Dang it. All right, here's what's going on. So where this rear piece is kind of right. It's kind of where we want it to be. But what I magically need to happen is to have this tuck into right here, which means I need some more bendification to line this up. But the way everything is attached, what I haven't figured out how to do yet is magically make it all adjustable without working too far in the wrong direction, meaning like cutting up tack welds and decentrifying things. It's going to be a challenge, but we're going to figure it out. I mean, it's going to require some welding in of cross braces, but I also want to, well, I don't know. Yep, this is me planning. That's what it looks like. Maybe it's time for a snack. All right, I've waffled back and forth for a while. Waffles. I have not had a waffle in a long time. Kind of like crepes better, but you know what I'm saying? All right, here's the thing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and weld in a bracket to hold these things in the relationship that they're supposed to be in. I'll cut this piece off right here, and then we'll do some inside pie cuts until I can get this to tuck in so that it's landing basically right against this. I'm gonna do inside pie cuts. I know, like, on the one hand, it's a little more work because you can only get so much out of them, but at least it closes the two pieces of metal together as you bend it in that direction. If you do it on the outside, it's easier to bend a little bit faster, but then it leaves you with a bigger, wider, more opener gap. And while that's fine and fillable, as the welds shrink, you're less likely to keep the orientation that you really wanted. If you pull the pieces, if you kind of, got your thing, you open it up, you have this gap to fill now. If you cut it and you close it, then when you weld it, the shrinking of the metal actually kind of helps to pull it the way that you want it to anyway. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but whatever. We can do it. So let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna add a little brace to keep this oriented, well, to keep it oriented exactly like it is. Give it a 3-second think over and make sure you're not gonna weld this in the way of where you're gonna try to work. It's a little bit in the way, but I think I should be able to work around it. The other thing about these braces, I always try to do them in a place I can cut them out later. That's why I'm welding on the side toward the camera and not on the back side. It'll be easier to get a ziz reel in and chop this right off. I always try to do 2 welds on each end. It kind of helps a little bit to keep the metal from becoming like a hinge, you know? All right. Let's get some cutting tools. Lots of cutting tools. We should add a plasma cutter. That would be good right now. Like, why am I still standing here? Let's keep going. So this here Hexol thing that Milwaukee sells matches all my other sort of mid-grade, battery-operated tools. I'll tell you what though, it'll do some damage. In fact, I have not even, have I? In fact, no. I have not used my actual Milwaukee Sawzall, the big corded macho guy, since I got this thing. So, anyway, just putting it out there. If you're buying the old tool kit, this and the battery-powered grinder. Not huge power, but man does it beat setting up an extension cord sometimes when you're lazy. So all the time. All right, that moved a little bit, but whatever. Not building a rocket ship. So rather than just going bananas on this and, doing some karate chops and butchering this thing, I made a little template. It goes from a 6-inch mark down on the little tube to where I've already cut it. And I guess what I want to see is if I do one pie cut, how wide does it need to be? And if it's too wide, I'll divide it over a bunch. But, let's say we cut it right there, which I have a corresponding mark. So just for funsies, keep those guys together. And then we can sort of do that kind of a number. And that actually might work pretty good, although it will leave us a pretty gnarly gap. But a gap's relatively easy to fill. Basically what'll happen there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but our corner will line up, but we'll have a gap like so. I'm willing to live with that. Question is, how do I turn that template? Into an accurate mark that I can replicate. The answer is I don't really know. So I'm going to need to 86 from here. This corner, and I reckon it's going to double that. So in theory, that's my cut, and it's a little sloppy, but it should get us pretty close. That will leave us a problem right at that joint, but you know what? I think it's going to be okay. All right, gang, we've been at it for, a while, and we're only on plan C. So the whole pie cut thing kind of worked, but you can see the inherent issues. Now that piece I cut out actually almost fits right there, but that's ridiculous when I can just go make myself one of these whoop-de-doos. Actually, two of these whoop-de-doos. One for that side over yonder. And we'll be moving along a little faster. Plan C. Not bad. It's actually not terribly dissimilar from a stock rear subframe. I mean, it's way dissimilar, but the original actually does kick in this weird way. The pieces are somewhere outside in the rain, so we're not going to go dig them up. And honestly, that really doesn't matter much. Just saying it for you fellas out there that actually have a good subframe. And don't let this get you down. It's actually bent in pretty bad. So I think we're sneaking up on what it ought to be. Let's get over here and do this side. Gang, I've already lost my magical special piece thing that I made. Here it is. All right, this side should go in theory a little better because we have our piece all ready. So if I line it up, if our two sides aren't exactly the same, I don't care. We're really working off center. I'm not gonna be measuring off this corner. I'll make the wheel wells closer to stock where they run just to the outside of this frame. Again, if they're not totally symmetrical, A, there's gonna be wheels in front of them. B, there's gonna be fenders over the wheels. C, I don't care. We're really building something out of nothing here. This is not a restoration. We're just gonna have a little bit of fun with a hot rod. By all means, let your standards be your standards. You don't have to follow this hodgepodging sort of method here. So the hodgepodging method is actually kind of a new experience for me, to tell you the truth. I will say that, you know, sandblasting everything and starting with fresh metal, as bad as the fresh metal might be under all this crap, is actually significantly easier, it turns out. I just don't want to erase it. I know I say that every episode at some point, but every time I think about the way I could have done it, I'm still glad I did it this way, even though it's a pain in the neck. Let's brace this and, you know, move on. Gang, we're kind of there. We've maintained our center line and all that jazz and just kick this in a little bit so we can finish up. All right, we're sneaking up on it. Those welds could be prettied up, and they will be. All of this is going to kind of get ground down, and we'll put a coat of black paint on the subframe, but we've got lots to do before we get there. I've been dreading this project, actually. It just felt like it was going to be a huge pain, and I didn't really want to think about it. But I'm really excited it's done. So this is some encouragement to you guys out there on your projects. If you get stuck and there's something you just don't want to do, I totally understand. This only took a couple of hours, you know, honestly, start to finish, probably about 2 hours or whatever. But now I'm pretty jazzed that I can move on and not think about having to do this anymore, because the next couple of steps are actually a little more fun. We get to patch the wheel wells, and then we get to start actually, you know, rebuilding some of the structure that was in here to make the body really solid. It's just one of those things about hot rod momentum, I think. I was dreading this project, so I hadn't done it, and I've been focusing my energy on the Mercury, but I'm also just really excited about the Mercury, because really, everybody, who wouldn't be, you know what I mean? But now that I've gotten over this hurdle, the next steps are actually steps I'm looking forward to, because we get to finish the wheel wells out, patch the back as needed, and then we start doing the structure on the rest of the car so that the body as it sits is a mess. But besides that, will be more sturdy, and we can take all of our temporary bracing out, and it should be pretty darn solid. So, good luck on your projects out there. This was a shorty. Say it again. This is, you know, if you're dreading doing something on your project, muster the strength. Just do it, because, you know, it may not be as bad as you think. I wouldn't say that was fun, but it wasn't bad. But now we're on to more of the fun stuff. Got to take the crunchy with the smooth in your hot rodding. Anyway, thank you for watching Between the Sharks. Consider subscribing if you have not subscribed already. And for those of you that have, thanks, man. That's pretty neat. I appreciate it. All right, we'll see you next time on Between the Sharks.